It's the best, hands down.
It's crystal clear.
I love it. The things you can make are awesome.
No one else has quality epoxy like this.
It's easy to mix.
Tim is such a wealth of knowledge.
It's gotta be iCoat.
Welcome to the Resin Mastery Podcast, exploring iCoat epoxy.
Alrighty, hi Ian.
How you doing?
Doing good. Hi guys, I hope you are also doing good with these holidays coming up. I know things can be a little bit stressful, but if you want a little bit of time to relax, then tune in for our Resin Mastery and Exploring iCoat Epoxy. This is our 5th episode?
I think it is, and we've got a huge lineup coming in the new year with interviews with guests, with people who do this for a living and actually make amazing things with it. So we'll be able to dig in with them and get the idea of how they do what they do.
I'm so excited for that. So today we are just basically going to be talking about more Christmas stuff. I know we've kind of gone over it a little bit, but now that we're getting closer to it, I think it's a really good idea to kind of put some last minute ideas in people's minds, see what we can get. And then also even just for pre-planning for next year, you can take your time with gifts and things like that. And so, what are some things that we maybe haven't mentioned yet, or even have mentioned, but not in great depth? What do you think about that, Ian?
Well, think about this. I'm one of these people where it's like, oh, we need to get X a gift, and my brain goes, oh, and I can't think of anything. And then all of a sudden, I have this list of things like a friend of mine owns a winery, so I'm like, I'm going to buy some special wine, or epoxy. Here's a great gift. And people go, why is epoxy a great gift? Isn't that like a work thing? Not when you're having fun with it and you're doing sort of amazing crafts and things like that. So the question I had today, Rachel, was, is epoxy a good Christmas gift?
I think that's an excellent question. And in my opinion, I would say yes, because I don't know, especially if it's just like, plain old resin and it's like nothing else, it kind of allows the mind to explore what options and to really be a little bit more creative with it too.
Creative, yep.
Some self-expression in there. And I think that that's a really cool gift, because we always want to get something for people that they want, but what if we got something for people that they might not know that they want, and then they create something so beautiful out of literally just came up with it, off the top of their head, or they put some thought into it, or maybe had a few ideas they've wanted to execute, but they don't have the materials,
Exactly. Look, I once years ago, my mother wasn't really a painter, and I'd heard her mention something about, maybe I'd love to sit and paint. So we bought a whole acrylic set and a big easel and a pair. The joy she got out of doing something creative was awesome, right?
I love that.
Yeah, and it's not something that people think of. People think of it like, oh, they're not a painter. You're not a painter if you haven't got paints.
No, exactly.
Right?
I used to say hate painting until I really actually bought myself some paints, and I took some time, and then I fell in love with it. So yeah, and that brings out more sides of your personality too when you get to be creative. So kind of helping with self-discovery, and it's like therapy. So
100%.
Same thing with resin too. I know pouring it is so satisfying that people even watch ASMR videos, and they watch just, those pretty videos of them pouring and sealing it and the whole process and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you've got that old saying, it's as exciting as watching paint dry. But if you've actually ever done a job where you painted a room where you want it to be great, watching the paint dry isn't actually that boring, because you're seeing your work come together, right? And in the same way, when you are doing watercolors, you know that the colors change a little bit based on how much water's in it, how thick the paint is, or acrylics, right? And you're blending. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, watching paint dry is actually a lot of fun. But if anyone's ever had, I'll ask it the other way around. If any of you listening to us tonight don't have experience with resin, now is your chance to experience how fun that actually is.
Yeah, there's a first time for everything, guys. If you haven't tried it yet, doesn't mean you never will.
And we said the other day on one of the other episodes where when you torch the top of a resin piece and watch it sort of self-level and go clear and all the bubbles come out of it and it becomes crystal clear, that's actually that's satisfying to watch that sort of stuff.
It definitely is. I have seen it done a few times and like when, especially just like, when you get it perfect, not a single bubble, you don't even need a second coat. Like that's some top tier satisfaction right there.
Yeah. Even look, I've actually videoed some people doing countertops, and same thing with the countertops when they actually get to that torching stage where it's taking the bubbles out and it's just making everything just beautiful and level and finished. Again, that's amazing when you've seen it come together from starting with old Formica or whatever and building up to that. And especially when they do artistic countertops and it isn't just straight white or black or whatever.
Yeah.
Whether it's like creative and arty in there. And I've seen some amazing ones. So, that's the artistic side, people maybe not thinking of. So back to the question, does resin make a great Christmas gift? And I think the answer is yeah.
Yeah, I think it does. And it's versatile, it gives people a choice, saves them money too on something that they might already want, if they're a creative person. So I think it's an excellent gift. And, I did want to tell you guys, I don't know if any of you have seen these recently. I just sent pictures over to Ian because I don't think he's seen these, but they're these super cool, they're like LED lamps and like the light is at the bottom and it's made to look like an angular, kind of, I'm going to mention it again, guys, a diorama of like underwater caves with scuba divers and fish. And it's a lamp. Like that is so cool. And like you guys could either make that for yourselves or make that for your friends or family. And I mean, imagine that every single time it's lit up, like they're reminded of the beauty of that gift and it can really become like a cool piece, even for children's rooms, like everything. So cool. I'm
looking at these now, Rachel, again.
Aren't they
especially the
dope?
one you said with the divers in it? That is so cool.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, I know my dad would love to have one of those lamps with scuba divers.
What a great Christmas gift that would be, right?
Yeah.
A resin lamp that's got something, especially if it's something that they do. It could be a golf ball in it, right?
Yeah.
If they're a golfer, it could be like a diver thing. If they're a diver, there's so many things you could do with it to actually say, look, I listen to you. I know what you do. I know what you love. I made something for you. I put my heart and soul into it because I know you love this. That would be fantastic. Yeah, or like if anybody has like a hiker in the family or a friend who loves to hike, like you could make it look like them in between like a canyon, right. And have that lit up like with a nice orange light. It would just be so cool. And yeah, that was something new that I had never seen. And now I want one really bad. Yeah, I'm actually going to post some of these pictures on the artist.icoatproducts.com website. I know we didn't talk about, or we talked about not making the podcast salesy, and we're not going to, but we do want to share a few things with everybody because one of the things we're actually thinking of and talking about gifts is we're going to start doing products in the store. So instead of you coming in just buying the epoxy or the resin, or remember epoxy, resin, same thing, and making yourself say, well, what am I going to make with it? We're actually going to give you different kits for different projects. So you'll get the color, you'll get the mold, you'll get the resin, and so you can go away and actually complete something. Yeah, like a coaster kit, like a charcuterie board kit, like I want to include one of these lamps in one of the kits because I think that's fantastic. You should. And then it's just a matter of getting the little pieces to put in it, Yeah. And being able to maybe possibly choose the color of the additives that we would, put in the kit. That would be cool if there were some color options. Yeah, I think it's such a good idea. And I think that you guys will really enjoy it because it'll just make your lives easier. If any of you are listening and saying oh, I'm kind of nervous, because I know it's kind of nerve wracking to
to not have done something already. And, you know, like the coolest thing about epoxy is you can make mistakes and you can fix it.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
it's not, it's not exactly like even a painting, you can do that too. You know, you just kind of slap on an extra coat and then you start fresh. So don't be worried about making mistakes. Like definitely be watching out for those kits. If any of you guys are thinking, I've never done it, but I want to do it. Or even if you're thinking, I've done this many times, but if it's all in one place, right, I'll get it from there. So.
No, exactly. And then another thing we're going to do is, for people who do make these things, we're actually starting a store in 2025 where we've got so many clients and they make some amazing stuff, and which you'll hear interviews with some of the amazing people who do flower preservation, memory kits. I mean, river tables, across the board, amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to have a store where if you're someone who makes stuff and you're like, I want to sell it, we're going to give you an extra outlet to sell these things as well.
Oh, that's going to be so cool. And they'll, definitely the people who are making that stuff will appreciate, the support and I guess you could even say like marketing in a way too, not to have a sales buzzword, guys. I know we're not too heavy on the sales, but just for any of you guys who are business owners out there, who buy from us or don't buy from us yet and are thinking about it, like definitely you could be featured on there. So
and look, there's marketing's not a dirty word. If you put your heart and soul into something and you've put your time and your money into it, you want people to know about it. And we can be that really focused place for people to come and watch, that's great, because you can go and say, well, I could sell it on eBay, with about 1 million other products and get lost. This or is Etsy only going to be resin products made with the best resin out there, which is Ico Epoxy. So,
and you know what I will say too, Ian, is one thing that I have found, and this actually saddens me, like to a great extent for creatives that are trying to sell their art, is I'm not dogging on Etsy too much as like a whole, but I am kind of dogging on the fact that a lot of businesses, independent businesses, and I'm using quotes here, guys. You can't see it, but I've got my fingers up. Are not. They're actually mega corporations from China and from other countries. Like I know there's a bunch of Korean countries as well, or Korean companies that are on Etsy, and they market themselves super well, and they make themselves seem like they're a very small business, but you're really getting like Shein and like Temu quality, like jewelry or items, and so it's like that's false advertising, and that's one thing you will not get on our website.
No, you're right. Because it makes me think of. I was in the Poconos a week ago, Rachel, and they have these little like craft fairs, and the stuff there is insane because it's all old. It's all from little independent vendors, independent artists. That's what we want this to be, not like you said, like a company out of China churning these out in a sweatshop 24/7, right? Yeah,
and where you don't know the quality of that item or whether it's going to leach into your skin if you touch it, or
it's going to last, right?
Yeah, or if your kid picks it up and puts it in their mouth, is it going to be safe for that? Because that's a lot of, I'm sure there's a lot of mothers and fathers out there listening, and you guys definitely worry about your kids and what they're putting on their bodies or near their bodies, and that's definitely something that you wouldn't have to worry about if it was on our website.
Well, so you've hit something really cool, right, which is a friend of mine asked me this. The charcuterie boards are so beautiful, especially with the ocean at one end where you put meats and cheeses, and he goes, your one's food safe, right? And I'm like, absolutely, 100%. You can cook on it, clean it easily, you could eat off it, no worries. He said, but are all epoxies and all resins, epoxy resins, foods? And I'm like, from what I know, they're not. Like, the history of ours is with a guy who used to be a military chemist. He handed it down to his son. These guys have the type of secret chemistry that no one else has. They've been in it from the start. They're ahead of the game on everyone else, and their quality is top notch. And they make sure to tell everyone, if you're going to sand epoxy, put a respirator on, because you don't want the breathing in the dust.
100%.
Yes, epoxy is safe, but there's certain things you do with it that aren't. In the same way, if we say it's food safe or even food grade, that's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what you're going to be getting.
Yeah.
So last one here, Rachel, is, and this is a Christmas gift for all of the clients out there who listen to our show and also work with us, which is we are starting a magazine in 2025. So it's going to be an online magazine. So let's say you, Rachel, you're someone who makes this stuff for a living, right? And you want people to know more about your wedding bouquet preservation that you do. You can send it into us. We will add a special page on the magazine all about you, showcasing maybe one of the things that you've actually made, a story about you, and a backlink to your website as well.
That's so awesome.
It's going to be great, because especially with these backlinks, they're really valuable for people to get to know more about what they're doing. And if you are someone who's making stuff, you want more people to know about your creations as well. Yeah. So this is going to be a really great way for us to help you market what you're doing, get everyone to know in your area or around the country what you're making and how they can get in touch with you. And this will all be through the magazine that we're going to do all the paid promotion for. All we want you to do is, if you're into sharing your ideas and you want to tell people more about it, you just contact us.
And that's awesome. I love that. And I'm so excited to see like the wide array of, different pieces that we're going to have included on there. And also, like to read about the artist, because that's also that's an integral part to not only me, but I know a lot of people when it comes to like what they're doing. A lot of people nowadays are opting, get off Amazon, let's do local shopping, right?
Correct.
And we're making a web page. So it might not even be local to you. It could be from California or, New Mexico, or even back east in New Jersey and like Maine. It could be anywhere in the whole United States. And you can see that, and you don't have to search through tons and tons of pages to see, what's the best deal, because, you know that you're in it for also supporting that artist as well as receiving something that's up to your standards. And that's going to be super cool.
No, it is. So to everyone, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, if you celebrate Hanukkah, a Happy New Year. Absolutely. We're going to be back in the new year with special guests. We're going to come back with interviews and shows and with more information. So, Rachel, Merry Christmas to you as well.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you and all of you guys. I hope that you have a lovely and safe holiday. I know sometimes it can be stressful, but just know that as long as you take some deep breaths and you just really center yourself, you can truly enjoy this holiday. And then you only have to wait like a matter of maybe like a week or two before our next episode is out. So don't get too impatient.
Exactly. So for everyone, don't let anything steal your joy this Christmas and New Year. And we will see you again on Resin Mastery, Exploring iCoat Epoxy. Until next time.
Bye, guys.